Thank you, everyone. Eid Mubarak to everyone as well. Alhamdulillah. So, the second day of our wonderful retreat sessions. I really benefited from yesterday also, the three retreats, the three programs, sessions that were shared by our brothers and sisters. It was amazingly beautiful to me. And I hope I can do likewise, contribute somewhat to some extent on how we can be successful. That's what I titled it. And the reason I titled this because in Ramadan especially, that's the opportune time for us to really connect ourselves with the Quran and to see what guidance are we seeking. And although my Ramadan has been pretty hectic, I've been working on a few projects that took quite some time for me. And I know my dear beloved brothers, mostly residing in Philadelphia, kept pressing me to come up with some topic to share. Of course, there were like a multitude of things that were going on in my mind in terms of different topics, and I couldn't narrow down to what specifically I should be sharing with all of you. But to be honest with you, I myself and they're here to learn with all of you all together, inshallah, and to redefine what being successful is, what is success actually, and what is the true success that we should all be seeking. So with that, as our dear moderator Khadija mentioned, like if you have any questions, you can always raise your hand, but I think it would be better if once I get to the fourth slide that you can raise your hands or check as always, and I will try to monitor that also as we go along. So let's try with a basic understanding of what success is and how should we understand what being successful is. So one thing I was thinking about, like what success is, in my being, my creation, I find that there is this drive in me to be successful. I mean, I'm sure everybody can relate to that. For example, if I'm working on a project, I want it to be successful. I want it to be accomplished. I mean, because that's what, within me, I feel like, I'm working on putting my effort on it. So I need to complete it in a successful way that I am satisfied with it. So the satisfaction and happiness lies in with success, right? So let's say, for example, if you go to school, I know there are like some younger audience members as well. So let's say you or people in school, if you are given an essay to write, for example, you want to do your best job. You want to get a good grade in that particular essay. Or if you're in a class and you are taking, you're attending that class and you're doing your work, you want to proceed. You want to be successful in going on to the next level. So success is always within the human being. And let's say for somebody who is a doctor, the doctor and a patient comes to the doctor wants to make sure that when he's treating the patient, that the patient gets well, and that reflects that that is the treatment that the doctor is providing is also successful on the patient. So there's a fulfillment and purpose in terms of the way success works in our human beings, that we are already hardwired with that feeling within us. And in success, as I kind of briefly touched upon, there is that peace and happiness that we find ourselves in when there is success. So this is somehow like a basic kind of introduction, as we're going to work on this gradually over the next few minutes. I don't have many slides though, I'll be honest with you, because really, inshallah, we'll try to work on it, and together, maybe with your help, with the help of your comments and some questions, that we will be able to really get to the crux of the matter. So let's see what the next slide is. So maybe let me see if there are like some questions that I was thinking of, and like I was wondering, what am I running after? Like, what kind of success am I going after? I mean, we are all are engaged in doing something. So, what is it that we are seeking? What keeps us busy, and in terms of what we are doing. And so I said, okay, like, what are your ambitions in life? What are your goals in life? Any accomplishments that you have achieved, and have you achieved them? So what if you have not achieved them, what is holding you to achieve them? So, I mean, you feel free to write down in the chat whatever anything that comes to your mind. And there is no wrong answer in this, because this is just to make it a little interactive so that we are all basically working on understanding what success means. Like, how can I be a successful individual? So yeah, so I mean, especially if there are like anyone, yeah, feel free to, you can send it to the whole chat box, that's fine. So I see some comments coming through, which is, yeah, so somebody said to moderate this session successfully. That's a very good comment, because I was also thinking that I would like to be successful in delivering the message across. When we have conversations and each party, the individual wants the other to be able to understand and comprehend what they are conveying. How, it would be really tough if we are unable to, comprehend each other, and then that would be like such a unsuccessful event. So we always hope in everything that we do that we are successfully able to establish that thing. And Joe says to attain detachment from things outside of me. Yeah, that is another very good comment. So to attain, so somebody has a goal, there's an objective that, hey, um, attain detachment from things. So there's some attachment there is, and somebody has made an objective to, hey, I don't want that particular attachment because it has nothing to do with me. And another friend says world peace that is one of the goals in life, accomplishments. And another friend says to be successful in school and work. So all these are very good, and they're all what that tells me, that there is this desire, this feeling of success within the human being. It is ingrained in every being. And now, if let's say we achieve those things, are we satisfied with them? Yeah, let's say if I complete my schoolwork, and does that fulfill my, my satisfaction? So another friend says, get to know everything that is in existence and utilize it to fulfill the purpose of my existence. Yeah, so we will also get there to see what the actual success is. So here is a little diagram, or whatever, the visual explanation of what our life human journey is. Like, because I've been getting a lot of text messages and emails, and from many of the different individuals I'm connected with. Somebody said, hey, I just finished my 5th grade and I'm going to the 6th grade. So I had my 5th grade culmination. Somebody said, hey, my child is now going to go to the 1st grade, just graduated kindergarten. So this is like let's say the kindergarten starts. Let me use a pointer. Yeah, this is cool. So this person, this little kid says, hey, I just learned how to cut some pieces of paper. Yay, and I can use the scissors and I can use the glue and glue everything, paste everything on a board. I'm like an expert on that. Now I can move on to my next level. Right, and then they go, and then they, over the few years, they go the first, second, third, until the fifth grade, and then they have accomplished some more. They've learned a few other things. They've learned some reading. They've run some writing skills. They've learned some, basic arithmetic, and they're, building their base in terms of they're building their base gradually. And then they go on and they go maybe probably seventh grade, they have another kind of, little going into a high school, from when they're ending their middle grade level. So they have that little accomplishment. So in the course of time, we all have these little milestones, I would say, or like basic general accomplishments that we go through, and then we take them as, yeah, I accomplished this. This is I'm successful now. I can move on to the next phase of my life, right? Then you might go maybe to high school and then to college, and then you may go post grad, and then maybe you are working along that line, and you run over all the course of the years, and then the final graduation is, with these beautiful flowers. So that is also another major milestone. It's an event. So for us, we track all these events or successes the way that we are kind of inculcated in this society and the mindset that the way this living standards or the civilization kind of offers us is, hey, you achieve this thing and you are successful. If you achieve, a particular lifestyle, let's say you are in the, like the American dream is like an ethos of maybe anybody who can do hard work is able to, live successfully, basically, which is a criteria of your financial ability, that you can afford a house, you have a family, and you can, you're living in the freedom of thought. So there's a lot of things that are involved in that particular phrase of the American dream, but there is a particular standard that everybody kind of keeps in terms of how, what successful actually means. And, I think most of us, like, I know we understand what that real success is. As somebody could put a comment on the chat about the last milestone. So that is what the reality of human life is. And, one has to wonder, like, what is going on in, all these successes, these achievements I come through. And what is the end result? Is it like a zero-sum game? Is it like a dead end towards the end? It becomes like somewhat of a worrisome or something that we have to think about and ponder over, because what really entails success in that sense. Because I mean, I've just given like some milestones and how in life we kind of gauge what we deem as successful. There are like different ideas of what civilization shows in terms of success. Say if you have a large house, or you're financially secure, you're independent, you can go on luxury cruises, and you can travel first class. That is one form of success, right? But then most of the people are not in that kind of situations or mindsets. But generally, we just try to live by and say, hey, let me do this task and let me be successful. But then, what is the end goal and game for that particular event that we have done, right? So I mean, we also understand that in everything that we do in terms of, let's say, the projects that I'm working, a project manager, for example, wants to be successful in that project. So what he does is he ensures that everything, whoever the people that are working on the project are equipped with the proper tools and they have the necessary talent to do that. So there is a particular way or order that everybody who is working on something follows. So for example, let's say I'm baking a cake or my sister bakes a cake. So let's say for Eid, whoever prepared the sweet dish, whatever, there's a particular order that you have to do, you have to follow. You have to get some eggs, you have to get some milk, you have to get some flour, mix it together, and then you have to set the oven at a particular temperature, and then you have, so there is a particular way of that one has to follow in order to successfully achieve that particular result. So for somebody who is in school, in order to be successful, they have to study, they have to attend, listen to the class, review whatever they studied, and then they go on and take whatever the test or whatever the essay or paper that they have to write. Right. So there is a process that one has to follow, and we all are in this group. I know many of us have been following this way of trying to find out the true purpose of our life or existence, and we understand that the the order that we see exist in the universe cannot just be there by itself. It does not happen by itself. So the events that we all go through, the things that we interact with, they all need to be given existence, right? So there is a something that in our operating in this world, in this universe, in whatever the things that we are doing, we interact with the order in the universe, and we are obeying that particular order to achieve whatever the result that we are seeking. So we are not inventing anything. We are just following or obeying, rearranging what is already existing in the universe to achieve the results that we have. So for example, in my field of engineering, things are, let's say there's always new tools and technologies that are coming, and it's hard to keep up now for me also, but everything is so dynamic and so rapid in like discovering, hey, this is a new way of doing it, but hey, but that thing already exists, so now we just uncovered something that already exists in creation. So with that, let me see. Okay. So I was talking like in terms of, I'm also reading some comments, and if I can pick up some of the, any pointers, but I'm pleased. Thank you for participating in, whatever the comments that you have put, and there are some really good comments, and I think we will touch upon most of them. So as far as my beautiful, like the the decorated slides is done, now I think we need to understand that there is a difference in terms of the way the civilization takes us in our perception of what success is. Like most of the ideas of success, we may be influenced, or we may have this notion that this is what success is, right? But true success, as we kind of touched upon, that we are realizing that this order is there and is placed by the one who owns this order, the owner of this universe, who has set everything. My existence is also there, and my interactions, everything has been purposefully given existence. And the things I interact with, I cannot see them that they are existing by themselves. So there must be a source that, we call that source. There must be a source that we call absolute. So now now we understand that, okay, there must be a source that is absolute, and he's giving me all these, events, and then within me, I'm wired to be seeking successful, to seek success. Um, at this stage, I would like to touch also one thing about, let's say somebody said, hey, this is all good, but there is not always success in, that I experience. I also, let's say I take a class and I don't do well, I fail the class. So where is that success in over there, right? I say, oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but I would ask that person, individual, hey, but you still have did you want to succeed in that class? Did you want to pass, or did you have that motivation, that drive within you that, hey, I really want to go and move to the next stage? So in our, and then if the person is true and honest, they will say, yeah, so this failure sort of the class becomes like a learning and education for the individual. And it is, I would say, it's still a success because it takes you back and say, hey, what am I missing? It's like a feedback mechanism where you can go and correct, see the order, what is the order, learn about it, and follow that order. So there is that aspect, but we cannot deny that within us, we are created as successful individuals. We are created to be honored and elevated, because as the presentations from yesterday, as I recall from the fig, olive, and I from Suhail, I remember the fig and all the seeds inside, which are all the human qualities that need to be flourished. So they all need to grow, like they all need to be successful. So even my senses, my feelings, I want all of it to work. I want all it to be successful. Whatever I do, I want success in it. Right? So we understand, so we have that notion within us, and I cannot deny that part, that it is ingrained. And then we also understand that, hey, this is something that, if we just leave the success to the material world, we understand that it goes and, to a dead end, because the material world is just material, my body. And going back to the Suhail's example of the olive, and as you said, that you cannot see things from a surface level, they always refer to, there's an implication, or that they refer to their source of existence or something else other than themselves, right? So even with that understanding, I would still say that, like, how much are we committed and engaged to achieving true success? Because we are still, kind of tied to because we live in a society, and then we get caught up into this, our affinity still, within us will say, yeah, I'm seeking eternal success within myself. But then some of my affinity, my affiliation still goes into some aspects of how the society dictates it. So I just wanted to, like, share that, that is something to keep in mind in terms of something I've been going through, and I kept reminding myself, hey, what is all this? My engagement, my effort, and my energy I'm putting myself into, what is the purpose for all of that? Okay, so I think we can move on to the next slide. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So let's see how, like, the Quran kind of introduces or presents to us what the true success is. And I know we all understand, as some of the comments mentioned it also, that, there is a purpose in our existence, and that achieving that purpose, for example, somebody, or, can say, hey, all this I'm doing, I want to achieve paradise. Yeah, so all the labor that you are working towards, it's to achieve. That's one way of looking at it. And another way is, hey, whatever you are doing right now, the result of is, if you are tied to your source of existence, that becomes your paradise. But I picked like two verses from the Surah Al-Fath, like the victory verse of the Quran, chapter 48, verse 4 and 5. So let me read those, inshallah, and then we can discuss. And of course, from here on, like, I would be open to your raise hands or any comments or questions, because I am also going to be learning from all of you on how we understand this verse. So Bismillah, Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Huwallazi anzala sakinata fi qulubil mu'minina liyazdadu imanan ma'a imanihim walillahi junudus samawati wal ard wa kana Allahu aliman hakima. It is He who from on high has bestowed inner peace, or sakina can be translated as tranquility, peace of mind, upon the hearts of the believers. Anzala sakina fi qulubi, hearts of the al-mu'minin, hearts of the believers, as it is translated. So that seeing that gods are all the forces of the heavens and the earth, and that God is all-knowing, truly wise, they might grow yet more firm in their faith. So let me read if there are some words that if somebody has any insight into, I would be very happy to listen to that. But for my take on it is, hua, it's always something that we wonder, like there is some source behind, somebody or something that is behind whatever is being given to us. So nothing in this creation we can claim ownership. Even the success, I don't think I would be able to claim ownership on that, but it is something as a result of something that is given and something I have to be grateful for. So there is a nuance in terms of how the Quran kind of presents, the case of what the ultimate success is. So I just wanted to see what, examine this a little bit more closely, because nothing in the universe I see can give me the peace of mind or tranquility. If there's anything in this world that gives you peace of mind and tranquility for eternity, please do let me know, because for eternity, I don't see anything right now. I have a hard time finding anything, because that is what my human side, as Suhail had mentioned about the fig, that's what is seeking. And I also remember now Faraz's presentation is also coming to me in terms of, every little thing, if you look at the water that you drink, you question it, did you make the water, like flow smoothly? The Quran kind of presents it, hey, are you the one who sends down the rain? Look at the rain. Do you send it down? Look at the fire. Are you the one who is causing it to burn? So we are able to see that the hua, that there must be a source. So somebody is sending down, bestowing down anzala sakina. So the peace or the tranquility cannot come from the thing that's itself, right? So I know, like, also the topic of angels, as Puri had presented also in the example of the milk, just stayed with me. So all the qualities that I find in the milk are just somebody is presenting with me, a sample of those qualities. So a message has been transformed from the absolute source into a created source of milk. So huwa and huwa alladhi anzala sakina. So the inner peace or the tranquility is coming from, or brought down by the my source of existence, if I identify myself that, hey, I cannot claim ownership of my being, I am being given existence. So this source is the one who is taking care of me and is bringing this peace, inner peace, or with this comforting my soul, right? So fi qulubil mu'minina, so the heart of the believer, or it's the human side of the ones who are able to understand or see that they are created beings. They understand that they have an owner, a Lord. So only those with the understanding that there is a Lord, they belong to that Lord, can their inner peace come. Otherwise, if I say my Lord is something in the universe, then I will definitely be hurt. There will be no peace in my heart or my feelings, because everything is in this, in the material form, is just temporary. So there is a hand up, and I would like to take that from my sister here. Go ahead, Faria. Do you want to?
No, I think I could speak loud, inshallah. So, this verse itself, I'm looking at it. You said, okay, share out whatever is coming to you, your impressions. This whole inner peace aspect of thing, it seems that I already know what that is. I know what it's like to have inner peace, but like, how do I go on achieving it would be the real question. So I wanna be in a state of inner peace, but how do I go on staying with it, perhaps? Otherwise, like, even somebody's introducing me this notion of inner peace. I know what it feels like, but I want to practice it in a way that's more.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with you. So I hope you all heard Faria's comment, but let me rephrase in terms of what I understand and how I see it as well, because I agree that she says that this inner peace is what everybody is seeking, right? So there's tranquility, peace, happiness. Everybody is seeking that, but how do we continue to achieve that? How do we receive? Because we're not getting the inner peace from the material things, right? So how do we have that connection established with our Lord, who is the source of this tranquility, of this peace within us? So there's, like, this verse sometimes is taken by some commentators to be for particular war, and and it talks about the victory in that some historical event. But the way I would like to approach this verse is, we try to, when we investigate and start to see what our Lord is telling us, and the universality of the message of the Quran needs to be seen. Like, I cannot reduce that to a particular time and space, but the message should be applicable to me at any moment, at any condition that I'm in. So yeah, we will go on in terms of in the next verse, and we can see that how this particular peace and tranquility can be done. So I think there is a comment from Yusuf, and I will listen to Yusuf. Go ahead, please.
So for the question of how am I going to receive this tranquility, in the translation, it's talking about seeing that gods are all the forces of the heavens and the earth. So it's interesting, because what puts me into stress is as if imagining forces or agents in the existence to acting on their own behalf, which makes me feel like somebody is trying to attack me, so I need to fight with it. If I don't fight strong enough, then I'm going to get defeated, which is the source of all the stress. I mean, for example, consider this coronavirus. So it is something that is attacking me. Because the verse, وَلِلَّهِ جُنُودُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, like it's the armies of the heavens and the earth is God's, belongs to God. So it is taking the existence by this army example, showing the order within the existence and saying that this order is, do I observe that this order is belonging to the one and only source. And to the extent that I can get convinced about this, follows a tranquility, because it's not like everybody is acting on their own and that I am within this chaos. I just need to find a way to survive. I guess we can think of it like, especially nowadays, since there are several wars going on Earth, like in a war environment, what is happening? So there is no central power that is putting things into order. Whoever has a gun becomes a source of a power locally. And if you don't have this sort of a weapon, then you are very vulnerable. So you have the every right to be worried. But if you think of, like, again, as a worldly example, a well-ordered country in which the police force, the government, or even post office, whatever, all sorts of powers or forces are acting in harmony under the power of a single authority, then you are going to live in this country happily without any worries. So I guess as long as I see the existence as such, or to the extent that I see it as such, then I'm going to receive this tranquility in here. And I guess the condition for this is to the heart of the believer, to the extent that I am at this security, to this conviction. If this belief is there, then I'm going to achieve this tranquility. I just wanted to share this. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Yusuf. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I agree in terms of seeing the universe as being coming from the single source makes things a lot easy. So the order that we see in the universe, and we have to question it and see that, hey, can these things, if everything has their own individual kind of power or to be giving existence to things, then it would be very hard to live in this world. But then seeing that this whole order of the universe can only be coming from the single source, that makes things a lot easy. And also, as you mentioned, you highlighted about the Junudus Samawati wal Ard. So when I read this also, I thought about the angelic side of things and the order including in that. So anything that we are interacting with, we are interacting with the qualities of, manifested qualities. That's what our interaction is with. And then we have to take that interaction with the qualities to the owner of that quality, who is the one who is manifesting these qualities. So there is that touch upon the angelic side of things, that we don't really notice this, like if we pay attention how this order is kind of working, but we need to sometimes take a deep breath and reflect on this order, and then interact with the qualities in creation, which is how the Junud, the Samawati wal Ard is what I would say. And there is some comments, and for example, Suhail, I'll read for Suhail. Peace in the heart is only from the realization, belief that the heavens and earth belong to him, their regulation, order, etc. The weight of the cosmos doesn't weigh down upon our shoulders. In a way, an understanding of divine determining brings peace. Yes, Sohail, thank you for that. The realization that the heavens and earth belong to him, including whatever I see, the regulation, as you said, the order, and including all the happenings that I experience and can read. All these point to that there is that single source or the belong to that source of existence who is giving existence to everything. And the weight of the cosmos doesn't weigh down upon our shoulders. In a way, an understanding of divine determining brings peace. So whatever happens in the cosmos shouldn't really impact us because it's coming from that. If I realize, which is believe that that owner of the heavens and the earth is the one who is operating this whole universe, then I would be staying in that understanding of peace, depending on how much my realization or my understanding is about this source of existence. And there is a comment also from Joe, who is asking, why is inner peace fleeting? So Joe, that is a very good question. Like, why is inner peace fleeting? So remember in my previous slides, we saw like different stages of life. I can just go back briefly, and then everything that we are doing, if we just stick to the material kind of aspect of that thing, that event, so that particular material dies away, and that material thing is not the one that is giving me peace. So it is what the end result or what I make out of that experience, that event, is how I will be able to achieve that peace. As long as I realize, as the comment from the brothers or whoever commented, and that if I realize that the absoluteness of this source, who is the owner of the universe and the ones whose order is operating this universe, then as strong as my realization is in terms of how much I am in tuned with that connection, that much is my peace with how I can be staying in peace. But I would also listen to, I see a hand from Berkan. Berkan, go ahead, please.
Jazakallah khairan for a beautiful presentation. Eid Mubarak, everyone, again. While reading the verse, I was thinking about some examples. Yusuf, he approached this war example from one aspect, one side. I guess we can also think about from the other side as well. Like he was saying, in a wartime, there's we don't see a unity which gives us anxiety and so on. Or sometimes, for instance, nowadays we having this experience with a virus. So when we listen all these news, regardless of their source, whether it's coming from CNN, whether it's coming from your local news, or even from your university, or even from your hospital, every news coming in a format which delivers a war news to you. Like we are in a war with a virus. We have people, heroes at front line. We have struggling, or we have fighting against something. We will defeat something. So all these things, all these the language that is used in news, again, regardless of the source, that's very interesting to watch and interesting to follow, whether it's coming from not as a means of politics, but whether it's coming from the Democrats, whether it's coming from the Republicans, that doesn't matter. Everything, or from religious people, religious countries, everyone talking in a way that we are in a war. Why? Because what we experience here, it's something we have to fight against, something out of the system, something out of the order, that it's not supposed to be there. We have to fight against it, we have to destroy it, and then we will have our peace again. So seeing one thing not coming from all-wise, all-knowing, but rather is something that we have to fight against, I guess this is why we don't have this inner peace anymore. and why we cannot be successful in our life in terms of the feelings we have. So this is, I guess, also related to the question the brother Joe asked, why inner peace is fleeting. I guess there is no exception. Like everybody, in a moment of their time, one moment in their time, they have this inner feeling, this sense of the tranquility or peace. This example is given to us in certain moments. We feel happy, we feel satisfied. What we do, instead of, as verse says, instead of attributing this peace to one who, in whose hand all the forces of the heavens and the earth, instead of attributing to him, we attribute it to our, let's say, happy family life. We say, okay, I treated my wife great today. She's happy. Thus, I am happy. I'm having this tranquility. Or, I made a great joke to my friends. They are happy. I am happy. Be having this happy moment. I'm spending time with my grandchild, or my family, or I have an achievement at hand. Doesn't matter. Thus, I have this inner peace. And as soon as I make this attribution, I don't want to go in too much in detail because this is part of our presentation after you, inshallah. So but as soon as we have this attribution, this inner peace is fleeting away. So just as a teaser to our presentation. Jazakallah khairan.
Thank you. Perfect teaser to your next session. That should be very exciting as well, inshallah. Okay, yeah, thank you for giving the example of highlighting, how we can see that gods are all the forces of the heavens and the earth. And where's my pointer? Yeah, seeing that gods are all the forces of the heavens and the earth, and that God is all knowing, truly wise, they might grow yet more firm in their faith. So this is something that the author added, but like seeing that God is all knowing, truly wise. So that is by interacting with the universe. And it's the beautiful example Birkan shared in terms of, if we try to fight and with the thing itself and seeing them as the powerful things that they are acting on their own, then we are not really seeing, because we are at a loss. We cannot see that these are the forces of the heavens and the earth that are governed by the one all-knowing, truly wise. So yeah, alhamdulillah, that was great. If there is any other comment on this, otherwise we can move on to the next slide as well. And feel free to bring me back. I can always come back to this particular slide. So this one is the continuation of that Surah Fat, which is the fifth one. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. لِيُدْخِلَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا وَيُكَفِّرَ عَنْهُمْ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. So the translation goes that, this is that he might admit the believers, both men and women, into gardens through which running waters flow therein to abide, and that he might efface or erase or clean out their past or deeds or sins. Some people translate that, or whatever wrongdoing, shortcomings that somebody had, so that he might, there's who can forgive, who is the all forgiving one. So, and that is in the sight of God indeed a triumph supreme. Yeah, so this is what the definition, oops, I went to the next one. This is what the definition of the, the triumph supreme, the ultimate success that for a human being is. And I think it is pretty well summarized here that he might, admit the believers both. Now, this is again, like some people think that, hey, once we are, experiencing all this in the time to come, we will get some sort of gardens and running waters, in the sometime in the future where that will be our home abode, and the state of being just pure and clean and no sins whatsoever. Yeah, so that is what in the sight of God, that is what the true success, the supreme of all the successes is. So a huge contrast to how based on my previous slides on, like the basic understanding of success and how we built upon each little event, seeing that they're coming, and then, and the continuation of this awareness, this recognition of our source of existence. And this is how, the previous verse was saying, seeing all the angelic side of things, like seeing that the order is being given existence by this particular source. And one has to see, and seeing the absolute majesty of all the qualities that you can imagine. For example, that he is the all knowledgeable one, all wise one, all just one. So all those qualities are present here right now for us to experience. If we don't experience it here, I don't understand how we can get that idea of the paradise or inner peace, or as it's mentioned, like here's a reference to, like, whenever I understand like the gardens and the running waters, I get the picture of that peaceful, serene bliss, happiness, that I'm being taken care of. There's no worries. I don't have to go for an interview anymore. Everything is just taken care of. I don't have to work hard for this, labor that hard for, and put all my energy into that thing. Everything is taken care of. So that particular aspect, I think we need to experience it here right now. And I see a comment from Suhail, who says, it is in a way saying peace is given, not taken, as you said. Okay, we only need to examine how we see the world. Yeah, so how we see the world, what is our worldview, as that was mentioned yesterday also. What, how do we perceive the creation? Are we understanding that this creation is purposefully made for me to experience, and understanding that a source must be behind? Like, these things cannot just exist by themselves, or they cannot happen randomly or accidentally by themselves, but there is an absolute source behind them. So if we are able to experience that tranquility, peace, by realizing that here, that is like the example, the sample, as the verse is alluding to, in terms of how, what the, those are the, what will qualify as the believing men and women. That is what they're, and of course, who doesn't want to, get the best grade? So let's say, like it says, and he might wipe out all the, the sins that you do. It's like, the teacher gives the, like, 4 tests, and then it says, hey, you got a 2 C's, 1 B, and 1 A. I will take the best grade. I will, as your final grade, I will give you an A. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that what we want? Something very, I would take it. Yeah, sure, give it to me. I don't want my shortcomings to go along with me. And I've realized, I've learned from them. I've seen what my mistakes are. Now I would like to go and proceed. Now that I've learned what the rules and what is required of me, how the one who is establishing the order wants me to live, I would like to go and follow that. So I don't want to repeat the mistake or the shortcoming. And then in terms of, when it is, even in right now, in my, with my teachers right now, I don't want them to judge me based on my prior grade, because I was learning and now I learned it. Now take my latest score, take my, I'm ready to write an essay right now, and tell me how, I did right now. So that is how I see it. And okay, so I think I have one or two more slides. So I think the next one, so this was like the two verses I wanted to share from Surah Al-Fat, which I think touched, but then I also wanted to add another one from Surah Al-Baqarah on, the process of how, in terms of more making it more real, practical, in terms of what does it entail. And we touched upon it, but I will read this again in terms of أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بلى من أسلم وجهه لله وهو محسن فله أجره عند ربه ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. So yeah, indeed, everyone who surrenders his face, his whole being, face meaning the way the human being is, is being made, that signifies that a created being, and with all the human side, which is like the senses and the physical parts, as well as the human feelings and the human feelings and senses, his whole being, they need to be referred back to God. So everyone who surrenders his whole being unto God and is a doer of good, wahua mosin. Mosin again is like a word that, it's this doer of good, like understanding that, so people use the word like living with Arabic word ihsan, or I would say the awareness of that whatever you do, you are not the doer. You need to take out that individual, like the I from yourself, and see that everything is coming from your source of existence. So that is like what surrender means, that you are a contingent, a dependent being that belongs to the Lord of the universe. So that your state of being is just, just accepting and surrendering to the will of your Lord. So whatever you do, you understand that he is the one who enables you to do it. So he is the actual doer of that particular action. But so that was, and then, so that is like surrendering his face, whole being unto God, that which means that understanding, with living with that awareness, that realization that, each event that you are encountering is a learning tool for you. It is presented to you by your Lord to prepare you in terms of how you can achieve that tranquility, that peace, so that you can be, right now you can achieve that success. You don't have to wait for, till your last graduation day, but you can achieve success here and now, right here, right now. So yeah, so if there is any comment or anybody wants to add to these verses, please, you are free to raise your hands. And I think I may have 6. This is 6. Okay. Let me move on to the next slide if we are all okay with this. Bismillah. Oh, wow. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yeah, this was one of the verses I really enjoyed reading during Ramadan, because I was like trying to make everything real in my life right now. So seeking the success, that inner peace, tranquility is, that is what we all need to achieve and try to work for. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Masalul jannati allati u'idal muttaquna tajri min tahtiha al-anharu ukuluha da'imun wa zilluha tilka uqba allazina taqwa allazina taqwa wa uqba al-kafirina an-nar. Okay, so the parable of the paradise promised to those who are conscious of God. So I see the muttaquna, so conscious of God. The Arabic of taqwa is that of a tajri min tahtil anhar, that of garden through the running water flow. But unlike an earthly garden, this is the author's translation, which I think is perfect, because it's not because it's an example, a misal, or a parable, and is just a reflection or it's just a manifestation. It cannot be something that, it comes back to the, we are in a created physical living world, but we can only come to the conclusion of what the absolute could be. So, and of course, the results or the fruits will be, everlasting. So it's not just something to Joe's point again, in terms of, hey, why is this fleeting? But hey, you want that peace forever. That is what the eternal, everlasting aspect is. And so will be its shade. So shade as if in the, you'll be comfortable. You're not going to be burning or experiencing any sort, right now you can do that. It's not like something, oh, when I get that house, it will be a better shade for me. Or if I go after I die, then I will get that shade. No, right now we can work on achieving this inner peace. So this is part of what entails. I know this is easy to see that as, something, yeah, we'll get once we get there, as in the future, we will get to see that. But to make sure of those things, I have to experience all this right now. And yeah, all now. And that is what I have to make this my living destiny, to be, this awareness, or living with the awareness that I belong to my Lord. And that is what the paradise, feeling of paradise is. Because I can know, if I don't follow the way I am created, if I don't submit my whole being, if I still attribute something to myself, then of course that is what the denial of truth is, because that's not real. I cannot claim it. Can I claim any of the feelings to myself? No, they are given. They're just the way it is. I have to refer them back to my source of existence. So if I go contrary to the way I am created, that becomes my fire. That's what burns me. Because if the temporary things that I see as giving me satisfaction, and they will not, because they will themselves need to be satisfied. If I see my family giving me satisfaction, they themselves need that satisfaction. So if people, your friends, family, your job, all these things are just means. They're just temporary, there for you to use as a means to understand that they cannot be the source of existence, of the tranquility that you are seeking. So that, otherwise, that is what, if I still think something is some temporary thing to be the source of my satisfaction, that is going to burn me really hard. So that is what I think I have. And then there's a big comment from Farah. I think if Farah, you can maybe moderator can mute Farah, and she can read and explain what she's saying here.
Farah, if you would like to read, I will be unmuting you. But if you don't want to read, then if you can make some sort of indication on the screen. She says you can read. So in that case, Asim, if you want, I can read, and then you can continue.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Farah says, a thought on the question of why inner peace is fleeting. I am thinking that inner peace is a fleeting feeling from the human perspective because the nature of this existence is inherently fleeting. Even if I attach my existence through my logical and experiential understanding to an eternal source, I have to refresh the relationship between me and the source of existence in order to remind myself that there must be that there must be the possibility to receive non-fleeting inner peace if I seek it from the absolute owner of it. So I'm just going to reread that last sentence again. Even if I attach my existence through my logical and experiential understanding to an eternal source, I have to refresh the relationship between me and the source of existence in order to remind myself that there must be the possibility to receive non-fleeting inner peace if I seek it from the absolute owner of it. I think we can logically conclude that the source must be eternal, which gives us peace, but we obviously cannot experience a non-fleeting, non-temporary feeling of peace in this life. The attachment to cause is not only disappointing because it is fleeting, but it is also both an experience and reason, dissatisfying, imperfect, incomplete, and disappointing. I can experience eternal peace within the moment, but have to renew that realization every moment. And that is the end of the comment.
Thank you very much for reading and the comment as well. It's a pretty lengthy, and I think it's valid. I think I can understand. It makes sense to me, especially the last part of I can experience eternal peace within the moment, but have to renew that realization every moment. Indeed, like we understand that expectation of receiving that inner peace eternally is not possible in this world. I mean, we can try it, but I don't see anything that, can give me right now that, but I can conclude, I can understand, I can get a sample, I can get a taste of that inner peace. And that is what the Quran is it repeats it, like, kind of points it out, hammers it many times in at least how I see it, that, hey, achieve this consciousness, achieve this awareness of your Lord, like realize that, see that, like the previous verse, it says, I think it was pretty good that we saw that, the seeing that gods are all the forces of the heavens and the earth, and that God is all knowing, truly wise. That is the way that, if with that realization, we are able to see that inner peace, that what can be the source of inner peace. So I hope that clarifies it. And I see a comment from Joe who mentions also humanness. So my human side, I assume he means that, but he can correct me, and that the human side needs that full satisfaction, and I can get that. My human side is seeking that, but it realizes that, with that, it lives with the understanding that this is the training ground, this is not the eternal ground. But I can get the sample. If I don't understand if I don't see the samples, I don't understand that there must be a source, or logically conclude that. And if there's no such thing as that, if there was no experience of such where I can conclude that, then okay, I understand. But there is, everything in existence is there as a sign, as an indication. Everything is, if that one only has to see that whatever they are experiencing is coming from that absolute source of existence. All right. All right. So where are we? Yeah, we read the parable. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Wonderful comments. And let's see, which is the, oh, I have another one. Let's read that one. Bismillah. So these are some of the verses I thought were like some interesting ones I wanted to share and hear from you all also. Like, these are all related to basically gaining that Fawzan Azima, or that tranquility, peace in my happiness in my art, that satisfaction that we are all looking for. So Azam Shah Bismillah, wasiqa alladhina taqu rabbahum ila al-jannati zumaran hatta idha ja'uha wa futihat abwabuha wa qala lahum khazanatuha salamun alaykum tibtum fadkhuluha khalidin. Okay, so but those who were conscious of the sustainer will be urged on in throngs towards paradise, till when they reach it, they shall find its gates wide open, and its keepers will say unto them, peace be upon you, salam alaikum. Well have you done. Enter then this paradise herein to abide. So these are all the descriptions I would say, on how the guidance or the Quran kind of presents to us, hey, would you trade your temporary happiness for this, or are you still reluctant, or are you still defending your values, like the value of a temporary material thing to something that is everlasting, something that is eternal. So take your pick. And again, taqwa, being conscious of their sustainer, will be urged. So anybody who is aware or who is conscious of their Lord, that is what the human free will has to decide, or the perception that we are, the worldview, as somebody mentioned, that is how their creation and our interactions must be read. And there was a comment also from the one who translated the translation, that by his having offered the people, humans, beings, guidance, of which they benefit from it, they avail themselves. Thus, the attainment of ultimate felicity or happiness, how do you achieve that, is the result of my interaction of with the creation and arriving at the conclusion of God. So it's an interaction between God and man, and of man's communion with him. So I, as the individual, I have the option to be successful in my existence right now, once, if I am aware and I'm conscious, how much I realize that I belong to an absolute source, the only owner, the only one who can give that peace, the ultimate peace that I'm seeking, the eternal peace, eternal happiness that I'm seeking. So that source of my existence. So I will pause here, and I think I may have one more slide, but that was just I'll share that, inshallah. Let's do that, because this is my last slide of the verse. I think this will be a good segue also for the next few sessions, especially Abdul Rahman's session on the prophethood, because we've seen how the guidance and the creation is kind of helping us, including the message of the prophet, which is also to connect us, to make us aware of our Lord. So this one is afala yatadabbarun al-Qur'ana am ala qulubin aqfaluha. Will they not then ponder over this Quran, or are there locks upon their hearts? This is from Quran chapter 47, verse 24. So among us friends, we understand that the significance, of the scripture talking to us according to my conditions here and now. So the human side, I would say, as my concluding remark, is, the human side is always seeking success, and is successful, in seeking its tranquility and peace, felicity, being happy, only when it's connected. The human side is connected to its maker, the owner, the Lord of the universe. And in staying, continuing that state, being in that awareness, is what is encouraged by, the scriptures. And the universe says, hey, pay attention to me. Also, I belong to that source of existence. And how the prophetic message also brings us to that. Because normally, we are reading all those different, self-help books. There are like many authors, psychology books, philosophy books that we can read, but really, what is the end result that we are getting, versus, what we take the message or the absolute speech so lightly. There's a verse, I think, that also says that you take this message so lightly, that just gets me, like, wow, this is another similar thing, that why don't you look for that peace to your source of existence, rather than looking it for everywhere else in the universe, which you will never find. You can only find that peace with your source, with your Lord. All right, thank you very much. I will pause here. So if anybody would like to make any questions or comments, I would be happy to hear that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Asim. We have about 12 minutes before we can end the session. So I guess at this time, If anyone would like to share any questions or comments, feel free to raise your hand, or you may also write a comment into the chat box. So I guess to give everyone else some time as well, I wanted to kind of share some of my reflections as I've been listening. One being that, you know, I think, especially given the recent pandemic, you know, the idea of constantly trying to take the necessary precautions to avoid getting sick if possible, and this idea kind of being very highlighted and emphasized in all sorts of media, whereas, you know, there being a lack of emphasis on just the fact that I want to be healthy, or that I don't want to get sick, or that I want to continue to be in a state of health, to be in a state of existence, essentially. And so connecting this desire within myself to this presentation as well, like inevitably, I guess going back to the beginning of what Asim was talking about, I have this innate need to be successful. And this need itself is not necessarily bad or evil or harmful to me. But as many of the verses that we've been looking at indicate or connote, that the way in which I approach that which is success, or, you know, how I define success for myself, how I define even inner peace. I guess, you know, to say inner peace is also, it implies things as well. But I guess just, you know, that essential first step insofar, how do I understand myself as a human being? And so how do I define these things for myself, so that I can then take whatever is the proper or essential steps to be in that sort of state of success for me. So I was kind of thinking about this as we were speaking, or rather as I was listening. So I enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing. So if there are any comments, we can take any hands.
I have Faria's hand up here. So Faria, you want me to go to the previous comment?
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure what this, who's proclaiming peace be upon you. Maybe I must have missed it. Like everything in creation then becomes a message for me, because it's carrying a meaning. So it's as if they're declaring peace be upon you when I'm able to connect existence to its true source of existence. I mean, I was just pondering over what this peace be upon
that's
you.
good. I mean, thank you for both of the comments. They're very beautiful in terms of, and as you said also about every salam alaikum, everything in creation is bringing that news. That's a good point in terms of, you know, how we need to look at creation. Like everything is a source that is bringing news of my Lord. And I see Berkan, go ahead, please.
Jazakallah khairan. Like, thank you, Faria, for bringing this verse again while reading it with you. I just realized something. Yes, this one. It says, when they reach it, they shall find its gates wide open. Gates wide open. Its keepers will say unto them, peace be upon you. Well, you have done. Enter then this paradise herein to abide. So wide open gates and keepers waiting there to, you know, take us to inside, as if it's so easy to get inside. Like, it's so easy to see. It's easy to how to say, find it. It's not hidden.
Welcoming.
Exactly, welcoming. It's not hard to reach there, or it's not hard to enter once you see it. The gates are wide open. It's not like you have to struggle, you have to give up things, you have to torture yourself, you have to go through all these troubles, whatever. Because most of the times when we think of the heaven, it's something to be earned. Although we are, constantly warned against such an idea in Quran, that no, heaven is not something that you earn, it's something that's given to you. The only thing you can earn by struggling, going through troubles and so on is the hell. If you want to put some effort, if you have to go through, there's so I'm saying trouble, not in a way like we all go through troubles in life. But when we talk about trouble, usually we talk it in a way that there's something that we have to achieve, that we have to take over, that we have to manage. And Quran says, no, this is not the case. Like, the heaven is given to you and the gates are wide open. All you need to do is just see it. It's just, accept it. It's just not block everything that's given to you. You don't have to be a perfect. So I cannot find the verse. I'm sorry, but like think about the images that we have in media talking about people who go through spiritual elevation, the elevations and so on. They have to do a lot of things. They have to, leave everything behind them. They have to go to some faraway countries to get, some guidance from some gurus, some whatever. They have to take all this long journey in a way that they have to achieve something, and then they reach spiritual elevation, whatever it is. But Quran says the gates are wide open already, and the gatekeepers are welcoming you, calling you already, wherever you are. You don't have to go to faraway Asian countries. Wherever you are, the gates are open. So yes, from another perspective, we do go through journeys. We study Quran. We reflect upon things. We try to make sense of life. Yes, that's true, but not in a way that it is dark, it is hidden, and we're trying to find it. All we're trying to do is just trying to accept the reality as it is, not trying to struggle to build or create a better reality.
Have to find everything.
Thank you, Burkan. Yeah. For you, what were you saying?
Oh, one just has to find like this inner peace within themselves, happiness. It's not from the outside.
So it's not like something difficult. It's something that is achievable,
It's
right?
not an acquisition
It's
either.
right.
It's a recognition, right? Mhm.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Mama's side, go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Eid Mubarak, everyone. Thank you very much for the beautiful presentation and comments so far. Within the same line with the last comment, the verse that you shared with us, chapter 48, verse number 4, there was a phrase over there, لِيَزْدَادُوا إِيمَانًا مَعَ إِيمَانِهِمْ, mentioning about growing or increasing the security or belief, inner peace, connection, adding to the connection, adding and increasing the connection or security. It is telling me that this universe is designed for that purpose. And but right after that it mentions junud, or armies, or soldiers of God. I feel like whenever I am given some kind of tension in my personal life, I should not take it as like my inner peace is fleeting, but it is an additional invitation to observe how the absolute maker of the universe is acting and is providing and is sustaining. Usually I take that tension as a moment of like my inner peace is gone, but it can be seen as another opportunity provided for me to pay more attention and see the reality of my existence. Thank you very much again.
Thank you for your comment. Asim, if you would like to go ahead with any final remarks, and then inshallah we can end the session here.
Yeah, that's perfect. Beautiful comment from Muhammad Said as well. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, inshallah, I think I don't have any more comments to add to this. This was a wonderful session. Thank you for the opportunity to everyone. Inshallah, let me make the closing prayer. Inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma alamtana innaka antal alimul hakim wa akhiru dawahum. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Al-Fatiha.